The day was warm, and the sun hung high over the forest. Leaves swayed gently with the breeze above. I walked alongside the Buddha, his presence serene and unshaken. The sound of birdsong filled the air, mingling with the rustle of leaves. We arrived at the edge of a crystal-clear lake, its surface perfectly still. The Buddha paused and gestured for us to sit by the water's edge. I followed him, noticing my own reflection shimmering on the surface. "Tell me what you see," the Buddha said, his voice as gentle as the wind. I hesitated, observing my reflection. "Master, I see myself, but the image feels incomplete and flawed." The Buddha gazed at me with deep compassion. "Why do you think it feels incomplete?" he asked softly. "I see imperfections," I replied. "They remind me of my shortcomings in thought, action, and appearance." The Buddha picked up a small pebble and held it in his hand. "Watch what happens," he said. He tossed the pebble into the lake, where it created ripples that spread outward. My reflection wavered and blurred in the undulating water. "Now, what do you see?" the Buddha asked, pointing at the surface. "My reflection is distorted," I said. Unsure of the lesson, he nodded thoughtfully. "The ripples in the water are like the thoughts in your mind," he explained. "They obscure clarity. When the mind is restless, full of judgment and aversion, it cannot see the truth." I stared at the lake, mesmerized by the ripples, which gradually calmed. The surface became still once more, and my reflection reappeared. "So, when the mind is calm, clarity returns?" I asked hesitantly. "Yes," the Buddha said, smiling. "The imperfections you see are like the waves, fleeting and born of disturbance within." I pondered his words, feeling the weight of my thoughts and how they shaped my perception. "But Master, what if the imperfections are real, not just perceived?" I asked. The Buddha picked up another pebble and handed it to me. "Throw this into the lake," he instructed. I tossed it, watching the ripples form and spread. "Even when the ripples fade, the pebble remains at the bottom," I said. The Buddha's expression softened with understanding. "The pebble represents qualities you deem imperfect," he said. "But they, too, are part of you." He reached into the water and retrieved the pebble I had thrown. He placed it in my hand, smooth and glistening. "A pebble may seem ordinary, but it contributes to the lake's beauty," he said. "Do you see?" I held the pebble tightly, feeling its cool surface against my palm. "Master, how do I learn to accept this as part of myself?" I asked. "Begin by observing without judgment," the Buddha replied. "Recognize that imperfection is neither good nor bad. It simply is." The sun began to lower, casting a golden glow over the lake. The stillness of the moment enveloped me, as if time had paused. "Master," I said, "why do we struggle so much with this concept?" "We are conditioned to chase ideals," he said, his voice calm. "We forget that life itself is beautifully imperfect." His words resonated deeply, like ripples in my own heart. I looked again at my reflection, feeling a new sense of peace. "Thank you, Master," I whispered, bowing my head. The Buddha smiled, his gaze resting on the horizon. "Gratitude arises when the mind sees clearly," he said. In this clarity, acceptance blossoms. We sat there in silence, the lake reflecting the hues of the setting sun. The moment felt timeless, like the wisdom he had shared. The Buddha's presence, steady as the earth beneath us, reminded me of the path I had chosen to walk. The trees whispered in the wind, their leaves dancing in the fading light. I felt a deep connection to everything around me. "Master," I said softly, "will this clarity last, or will it fade like the ripples?" "The nature of clarity is like the lake," the Buddha replied. "It can always return when the mind is still." His words lingered, settling into the depths of my being. I realized the journey was not to erase imperfection but to embrace it. The lake mirrored not only my reflection but the lesson the Buddha had imparted. The ripples of his teaching would carry on, gently shaping my understanding. The night descended, stars beginning to adorn the sky like scattered jewels. I rose with the Buddha, my heart lighter than it had been. Together, we walked away from the lake, the wisdom of the moment etched into my spirit. Another day, we journeyed through a lively village filled with vibrant crafts and the hum of human activity. The storm's intensity seemed to mirror the inner conflicts each disciple had faced in their journey. Buddha's gaze shifted to the horizon, watching the interplay of light and shadow in the storm's dance. The potter spun his wheel, his hands deftly shaping the clay into vessels of various forms. The Buddha gestured for us to sit nearby, his gaze fixed on the potter's craft. It accepts the storm as part of nature, neither judging it nor fearing its presence, Buddha observed. Silence filled the space as disciples reflected on their tendency to resist life's challenges. The potter smiled as he worked, embodying focus and tranquility. The Buddha turned to me and asked, "What do you see in his movements, my friend?" I hesitated before answering. "Master, I see skill and artistry, the transformation of simple clay into something beautiful and useful." The Buddha nodded, his eyes reflecting approval. "Indeed," he said, "but look beyond the beauty." Buddha turned to the group, his words weaving insight into the fabric of their understanding. "When we judge the storm, we separate ourselves from its natural essence," he said. The fragments on the floor seemed cast aside, unfinished and flawed. The potter overheard and smiled, pausing his work to address us. "These fragments are not wasted," he said. "They are ground into new clay for shaping again." Buddha's eyes conveyed boundless compassion, touching the depths of the disciple's heart. "Your thoughts are like passing clouds," Buddha said, "transient and powerless when observed without judgment. Even the broken pieces have a purpose, finding new life in the process." I pondered this, feeling a spark of understanding ignite within me. "Master, does this mean our imperfections can also be repurposed?" I asked. "Precisely," the Buddha said, his voice steady and kind. "Imperfection is not a flaw but a stage in transformation." The potter resumed his work, and we continued to watch, absorbing the lesson unfolding before us. The clay, spun by the wheel, seemed to mirror our own lives, malleable and evolving. The Buddha spoke again, his words resonant with wisdom. "The clay's imperfections guide the potter's hands, shaping it into something greater than before." I observed the potter's discarded fragments, realizing they were not failures but beginnings. "Master, how do we embrace this truth in our lives?" I asked. "Start by seeing imperfection as an opportunity," the Buddha said. "Through it, we learn, grow, and become vessels of wisdom." The sound of the potter's wheel became a rhythm, echoing the cyclic nature of existence itself. The Buddha's gaze softened as he continued. "Each flaw is an invitation to reshape ourselves. Much like the clay in the potter's hands, the potter lifted a completed vase, admiring his creation before placing it with care among other finished pieces. This vase was once formless clay, the Buddha said. Through patience and effort, it found its purpose. The potter turned to us and offered a vessel still unbaked, its surface imperfect. "This is not yet complete," he said, "but it holds potential to become stronger after the fire." The Buddha took the unfinished vessel, cradling it gently. "Fire purifies and strengthens, much like challenges in our lives," he said. "They reveal our true nature." I nodded, feeling the weight of his words settle into my heart. "Master, is it through struggle that we find our completeness?" I asked. The Buddha smiled, returning the vessel to the potter. "Struggle refines us, much like fire hardens the clay," he said. "It transforms imperfection into resilience." We rose to thank the potter, his hands dusty but his spirit luminous. "Master," I said as we walked away, "can we always find beauty in imperfection?" The Buddha placed a hand on my shoulder and replied, "The beauty lies not in perfection but in the journey of becoming." The village grew quieter as we left, the sound of the potter's wheel fading into the distance. I carried the lesson with me, feeling a newfound appreciation for the imperfect and unfinished within myself. The Buddha walked beside me, his presence a reminder of the path we all tread. The clay of my being felt softer, ready to be shaped by the hands of experience and wisdom. Another day, we embarked on a journey up a steep mountain path, its terrain rugged and unyielding underfoot. The sun cast long shadows, painting the rocks and shrubs with muted tones. The Buddha walked ahead, his steps deliberate yet light, as though the ground welcomed him. I followed closely, struggling to navigate the loose stones and thorn-covered bushes lining the path. The climb grew more arduous as the mountain revealed its challenges, and my frustration began to grow. Thorns tugged at my robes, and sharp stones scraped my feet, leaving me weary. I glanced at the Buddha, his calm demeanor unshaken by the hardships of the climb. "Master," I called out, my voice heavy with fatigue. "Why is this path so difficult? It feels relentless." The Buddha stopped and turned to me, his gaze steady and filled with understanding. "Do you notice anything about this path?" he asked. I looked around, trying to see beyond my frustrations. "I see rocks, thorns, and uneven ground," I replied. "It tests our strength and patience." The Buddha gestured to a cluster of wildflowers growing among the rocks. "And what do you see there?" he asked gently. The flowers stood vibrant and resilient, their colors contrasting the harshness of their surroundings. "I see beauty," I said. Surprised by the contrast, the Buddha nodded and continued walking, his pace unchanged. "Even in difficult terrain, beauty thrives," he said. "Imperfection does not prevent life from flourishing." I pondered his words as I climbed, my perspective shifting with each step. The harshness of the path became less burdensome, revealing hidden wonders. "Master," I asked, "is this path meant to teach us something?" The Buddha smiled, his expression serene. "Life itself is a mountain path," he said. "It presents challenges that reveal our inner strength." We reached a plateau, where the wind whispered softly through the trees, carrying the scent of earth and freedom. The Buddha sat and gestured for me to join him, his eyes scanning the horizon. "Look back at the path we climbed," he said. I turned and saw the winding trail, its obstacles now distant yet clear in memory. "I see every struggle I faced," I said, "but also the progress we made." The Buddha pointed to the wildflowers again, their petals swaying in the breeze. "Each struggle you endured brought you closer to seeing the beauty hidden in imperfection," he said. I felt a weight lift from my heart, replaced by a sense of gratitude for the journey itself. "Master," I said, "why do we often resist imperfection?" "We fear it," the Buddha replied calmly. "We believe imperfection diminishes us. Yet it is the very soil of growth." The wind grew stronger, carrying the echoes of his wisdom across the mountain. I closed my eyes, feeling the truth of his words settle within me. "Master," I asked softly, "how do we learn to embrace imperfection?" "By understanding its purpose," the Buddha said. "It teaches us resilience, patience, and the value of effort." Much like this climb, I opened my eyes to the expanse of the plateau, its view stretching far beyond the horizon. The mountain seemed to breathe, its presence alive with lessons. "Master," I said, "does perfection exist in any form?" The Buddha placed his hand on the ground beside him, his touch gentle yet firm. "Perfection is an illusion," he said. "The world's beauty lies in its impermanence and imperfections." The setting sun bathed the plateau in golden light, illuminating the mountain's rugged features. I felt a deep connection to the path we had walked. "Master," I asked, "will this journey change us?" "Every step reshapes us," the Buddha replied. The mountain path teaches us to see life as it is, without judgment. We sat in silence as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the sky in hues of orange and pink. The mountain, once daunting, now felt like an ally in our journey. The Buddha's presence, steady as the rocks beneath us, reminded me of the wisdom gained through experience. The night descended, stars beginning to adorn the sky like scattered jewels. I rose with the Buddha, my heart lighter than it had been. Together, we walked away from the plateau, the wisdom of the moment etched into my spirit. The mother clasped his hand, her grip now gentler. The Buddha concluded, parenting is a journey of nurturing, guiding, and trusting, each phase teaching profound lessons about love and impermanence. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.